Hi, my name's Michael Crawley and I'm going to be talking to you today about soldering discrete terminals. It's very important to wear safety glasses when soldering to stop anything coming into your eyes. So I'll put those on straight away. The purpose of soldering is to join two things together. In the case of today, we're going to be joining a wire and a plug. There's lots of different equipment that we use when soldering. Some wire strippers, and you can see the different widths for the wire that we can strip there. Some pointy nose pliers, some side cutters, a vise, and also, of course, a soldering iron. There are other consumable equipment, which includes wires, 60-40 tin lead solder, a cleaning agent, isopropyl alcohol, tissues and or cotton buds, and of course the thing that you're going to put the wire on, which is in this case a light or a plug. Right, well, let's get into it then. We've got our wire and we're going to cut our wire to length. It may be hundreds of metres long depending on where we're going to have the plug from one place to another. In our case, we're just going to do maybe about a foot. So after we've cut our wire, we then strip our wire using the wire strippers. The wire that I'm using today is a 22 gauge wire. Therefore, I use the 22 gauge hole on the wire strippers. You can just see it's three from your right. I'll turn my soldering iron on now. And just slowly, carefully move back the insulation, whilst trying to maintain the lay of the wire onto the lay of the wire as it spools around the thread. We now use our vise to put the wire in the vise and grab some solder. We then chemically clean the wire and the solder. You can sort of see the little black marks as we clean the solder. In soldering, it's very important that everything's very clean to aid in the soldering process. And then we tin our wire. When we grab our soldering tip, make sure that the tip is nice and shiny and clean. Sometimes when this doesn't happen, just add a little bit of solder to the tip and clean it off. When we come in to tin the wire, start in the middle, add a little bit of solder until we have some solder around the top of the wire, then move up, down and off. We then inspect our tinned wire. And discard the end. And there we have our tinned wire. Okay, we now need to cut our wire to length in order to put it into our plug. So we open our vise back up. put our wire in, and we want to leave around 1 to 2 wire diameters between the top of the wire and the top of the plug. We want to do this to make sure that we have maximum amount of surface area connected to the solder joint, and any vibration doesn't vibrate the wire out. Okay, so now that we've cleaned our wire, and with our cotton bud, we've cleaned the plug. We can get some solder, cut it to length, in the top of our cup, on the plug. Bring our soldering iron in again, making sure that it's very clean. Bring the tip, as we bring our tip in, we want to make sure that our tip isn't heating up the joint for longer than 3 seconds. So if you sort of count in the back of your head, any more than 3 seconds, and the tin-lead combination will start to separate, and the joint will become dull. Try and keep the joint as still as possible. Remove the wire and the plug, and again, we chemically clean it. During the soldering process, it's important to refine and review at any stage if we've had a problem. And in order to do that, you will get a better and better soldered joint.